Good morning, everyone. This is behind the scenes of my show today with Pastor Jay on WNZF News Radio. If you're in my local area, make sure you tune in on Sunday, 94.9 FM and 1550 AM. You could also go to my website, todaywithpastorj.com, and click on podcasts to hear previous shows and to show your love and your support. So my special guest this morning is Alan Lowe. What's Alan going to say? I can't hear anything. Testing. Oh, there, that's better.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I couldn't hear anything. I'm like, what is this? So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you share this video, tag your friends, all that other jazz. All right, we're going to go in.
You are now tuned in to Today with Pastor Jay on WNZF News Radio, where we discuss inspiring and informative news. And now here's your host, Pastor Jerlyn Denny.
Good morning, good morning. Wake up and good morning. It is a good and great day to stretch and to be alive. It is a wonderful day to be in free America. That's what I like to call it. Free America here in Florida. People are flocking to Florida because it's just a wonderful place to live. I had no idea when I moved here about 20 years ago that Florida was this great a state. But every year it's getting better and better. As some people used to say back in the day, it's getting gooder and gooder. You don't know anything about that. But my special guest this morning is Alan Lowe. Alan is the former mayoral candidate for Palm Coast. He is now currently a candidate for Palm Coast City Council. Alan.
Thank you for having me here today.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I tell you, last time you were on the show was back in July, somewhere last year. You were running for mayor.
Yes.
And lots have happened since then.
Oh, all kinds of things have happened since
then. A lot of things have happened. So you weren't successful in your mayoral race.
No, I wasn't. I did pretty well, though. I think I came in 3 months before the election, and I lost by 2,500 votes out of 50,000.
You came in 3 months before the election.
Yes.
And you lost by 2,500 votes.
Yep.
Well, that just tells you right there.
I think it is. But you know what? I don't consider it a loss. And let me tell you, people such as yourself, I'm going to mention a couple names. Nick DeSantis and all the other people that were on your team at the REC made it so supportive and so amazing that that even though I didn't win the election, I won some great friends and some great support in life, and I appreciate it.
Well, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you. I'm glad we kind of got through that, because I remember after the election when you still won. We'll just say Kale at that. I remember after the election, you called me. We had a conversation, and you said, you know what, Pastor Jay, I may not have liked the fact that you didn't take a stand.
Yeah.
You didn't support either one of us. You were just kind of middle of the road, and I respect you for that. That meant the world to me, because in a position that I was in.
I wanted to be selfish and have you 100% on my side. I mean, but I respect that you stayed neutral.
Well, as chair of the party then, that was important to me, that I offered the assistance to and give, I hope, great advice to both sides. But also, on another note, behind the scenes, you were going through a lot of turmoil. People were talking about your past, saying that you're not a citizen, you're not this. I remember, if you don't mind if I share this story.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to share. This is a personal story. So I get a phone call from Alan. He's like, I had this thing. I'm always a pastor 100% all the time, but occasionally I do wear other hats. But he called me. He said, I need to speak with you. I was like, sure. You want to meet over here at the diner? You want to meet at the church? He said he wanted me at the church. So as soon as he said he wanted to meet at the church, my hat just, I had to shine it up a little bit. But you came in, you had some documents, you put them down. I prayed with you, and you were just so broken. You were so broken, not because of what people were so much saying about you, but your relationship with Jesus Christ had evolved from then till now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And your faith was being hit.
Yes.
It was, and it was, that's what people were, they were just fighting and condemning your faith. That's what you saw. Yeah. Your relationship with Jesus Christ is what was on the line for you. It wasn't all that other stuff. People calling you a citizen.
They can do whatever they want with that
Those
stuff.
things did not bother you. What bothered you more than anything else was that someone was trying to mess with your testimony.
Yes.
You remember that day?
Oh, I remember it clearly.
Man, and I went, I talked to a lot of people, and I said, this man is genuine about it. That's all you cared about.
Yeah, we all have our time here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a short time. Hopefully we can get as many years out of it as we can. But the next phase, that's for eternity.
Amen.
And that's where, in this phase, we have to be concentrating on. Mm-hmm. And, people can say anything they want about my past. They can talk about this baloney about me never being or me giving up citizenship, which, by the way, I never did. Mm-hmm. And they can say that I was a criminal, which, by the way, I have no criminal record. And they can do all of this crap that they want. And they did it hard. They put out stuff like, people know. Websites that were phony, that they put down out of the country of Panama so that they couldn't be tracked, so that you couldn't find out who put that stuff out there.
Who spends that much time and money for a small mayoral race that only, how much you make? Like less than $15,000 a year?
Oh, 10, yeah, less 12, than that. The base rate's $11,000, and I think you get a cell phone thing and nothing. Nothing. My signs that I put out for my campaign cost more than what I would have made had I won the mayoral election for 2 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's not about money.
So what do you think it was about? Just people.
There's conspiracy theories that you can get into and all that, but let's just look at some of the facts. The facts are, if you, and I don't want to speak bad about anybody because that's not what I'm trying to do. But if you go back and you look at donations, which anybody can go back to the SOE website and look at donations. My donations came from all local people, plus money I put in myself. But if you look at other people's donations in the mayoral race at that time, and you look at our current mayor, and she won, and I gave her credit for winning that night. I'm not trying to say anything about that. But if you look at it, I think there was 1 or 2 local donations, and everything else came from out-of-county developers and out-of-county PAC money. So with the TV commercials that were run and the radio commercials that were run and all of that type of thing, the texting, the robo texts and everything that they put out there, and the phony website down in, which was done by PAC. It wasn't done by Melissa Holland herself. It was done by PAC.
People that supported her.
People that support her. So I can't sit here and say she okayed or didn't okay any of that stuff, because a candidate has no control over what a PAC does.
Correct.
So it was about between $100,000 and $120,000 was spent.
On a
11,000, yeah. So I'm not going to say, my own conspiracy theories about what was going on in the background and what was doing and what wasn't doing, but that's a heck of a lot of out-of-county money to throw at a particular position.
Maybe she's just wonderful and doing wonderful things and bringing in jobs and stuff from outside. It could be another side. But how has this changed your life? You ran for mayor, got in the race 3 months, lost just by a small margin. But now,
I never stopped.
You haven't stopped.
No.
I've heard nicknames like you're the undersheriff, not undersheriff, the
shadow
undermayor,
mayor.
the shadow mayor. You're the undermayor, the shadow mayor. You are mayor. I've even had people go, "You're the mayor."
Well, look, I lost that race. That's gone for now, anyway. But I moved to Palm Coast in 1983, almost 38 years ago, March of 1983. And my dad was mayor up of Gloucester, Massachusetts, and I really never wanted anything at all ever to do with politics, period.
You talking to somebody right here.
I wanted to live my little happy life under the radar and just keep cruising along. And I did that. And, and I own the mistakes of my past. I didn't vote for all those years.
A lot of people didn't.
No, I know.
I met a ton of people. There were first-time voters in the 2020 election.
Yes, and I had people come up to me and thank me for running because it brought them out to vote. So I'm pretty proud of that. But what I saw all that time was that you had, people that were running. It didn't matter whether they were Democrats, Republicans, whatever, but they were running on whatever platform they put forward. But when they got into office I'm talking about president. When they got into office as president, it was all the same. The same, building bigger government, spending more and more money. Never changed, no matter which side it was on. And so it's I and a whole bunch of other people felt that our vote really didn't matter in the end. And then
as they say, and
then President Trump.
Yeah.
And all of the polls, and Ed Danko, councilman now, who I respect, also was previously a news person and worked at CNN, and he left because he said those polls were all fake.
I mean, all right, okay, so let me say this. You, Danko, I don't want to really call out any name, but I know Ed, so he won't mind if I say this. But are you guys cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? I mean, you're just cuckoo?
Well, we got to be cuckoo. We're in politics.
They have this stuff that you're saying, and people are going, yeah, that's not real. They criticize you so much. Is it worth it? Is the constant criticism?
Yes, and I'll tell you why it's worth it.
Why is it worth it?
It's worth it, at least on our local level, for our city, because like I said, I've been a citizen here in Palm Coast for 38 years. I've been a resident. I've been living off the benefits of Palm Coast for 38 years. And then when President Trump became president, and then the hell that man took, I don't know how he survived it. What I took was nothing compared to what he took every day of his life. But what I saw happening was trickling down all the way from the presidential to the local. And when I decided to vote, which was to support President Trump back then I said, if I'm in, I can't just jump halfway in the pool. I either got to go in or not. And I needed to support my city with what I believe were skills that I had that I could bring forward and benefit our community.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about that when we come back from the break. Don't go anywhere. We are still here. We can just go back in. Thank you guys that are watching me. I have Alan Lowe here, and he's just going to be talking. I mean, come on. He goes from mayoral candidate now city council. We're going, why? You just still, and you're going to make a difference no matter what.
We got to. Listen,
let's go in so we can talk about this.
Okay.
All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay. I want to say thank you to Alan Lowe, brave guy. I mean, come on. You were crucified.
Well,
crucified. And look,
that's good company to have. Other people.
That's true. Other people were crucified. I should say persecuted. You were persecuted.
All right.
Because we are going to be persecuted. I've been persecuted. I know what it's like. I've been persecuted. I don't even count how many times. Right now, I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, you got to. You got to have thick skin and let it roll off your back.
You know my new saying. Well, it's not really a new saying. People ask me all the time, how do I handle, and I'm going to share this with you because this helps. How do you handle people always gossiping and criticizing you and talking about you all the time? You know what I say? Well, I'm amazing. Have you met me? I'd talk about me too if I were them.
Yeah,
so you got to have that attitude.
Yeah, you do. You do.
I mean, goodness and mercy follows me all the days of my life. I mean, I'm going to dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Can you not talk about me? The God I serve is great. So when you just turn it around and make it positive. So that's what you did with this run for mayor, in my opinion. Yeah. You just said, you know what? I'm going to keep pressing.
Keep going.
And you started going to city council meetings.
I've been to every city council meeting and every workshop.
So what you doing? Just training? So when you get on the council, or you just
of course. I'm involved. I've been up at the podium and spoken. I've done letters to the editor. You have to be involved if you're gonna. Okay, so I didn't vote for a long time, like we mentioned in the last segment, right? And now I'm voting, and now I'm involved, and I have been persecuted by people for saying, well, you never voted. Well, how many of those people that are persecuting me ever stood up to run for office?
Ooh. Or stood up to speak out against an issue.
You know what? If
people got a lot of stuff to say, but they're sitting on their laurels.
Yeah, well, if you're the tallest piece of grass in the lawn, you're going to get cut. So when you stick your head up, you got to be ready for the lawnmower.
So what kind of things have you been seeing? Palm Coast is a great city. So
it is. It's a
it's a great city to live. We're doing a lot of things, but what kind of issues have been popping up since you've been going to these city council meetings?
Well,
of course, there's been a lot of fights.
There's been a lot of that.
You're not on the council, but there's been a lot of arguments and fights with some of the council. What in the world?
Well, there's a lot of personality differences up there now. It's not just
look like it's a Jerry Springer show.
Well, it can be. Yes, it can be.
And some of the stuff have fallen over into the outside.
Yeah, well,
in the parking lot.
That's
YouTube
sad.
videos.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
I'm like, this is little Palm Coast.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
But
from just outside looking in.
From
you're
my
not
outside
on the what's happening?
Well, actually, I don't like the bickering and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a problem with somebody, you can bring that privately. You don't have to do it up on the dais, like that. But having strong opinions and a strong will to bring forward what you believe is right for the city, I believe that's also part of what's happening now. It's not just everybody going yes and following along and nobody saying everything, and an hour later they fold up and they go home and nothing ever happens again. It doesn't work that way right now, and that's the way it needs to be. We need a city council that's fighting for the community, not a city council that's just bobbleheads, yeses and nos. And one of the big issues that I see right now, everybody has issues right now with development. Either you're pro or con development. It needs to be controlled. We can't just start throwing stuff up everywhere. And one of my big issues with it, I'm pro development to a point. It's going to happen in Florida. Especially in Florida, if you own a piece of property, you have the right to develop that piece of property. And I'm not talking about zoning changes and things like that, but if you own a piece of property, you have the right. And we've moved here and we've built our houses on our lots and whatever. And when the neighbor moves in and clears their lot, we get upset because the trees and the nice things we had. But we did that when we moved here. So you gotta
let people do.
They got the right to do it. But it needs to be controlled. It needs to be done in a fashion where if there are going to be zoning changes, that it doesn't negatively affect the property values of the adjoining properties, that it doesn't affect the city. But, we have a huge boom on housing and it's crazy. It's crazy. People are coming to Florida and people are coming to Palm Coast because this is we're the diamond in Florida still. We have
great beaches,
everything right here at our disposal, but we're not in the middle of this, and nothing against it, but it's not like living in downtown Orlando,
That's true.
It's off on the sides, but we can go to Orlando, we can go to St. Augustine, we can go to Daytona, we can go out on the boats, we can go on the canals, we can do everything from right here and still have a little bit of a suburban rural feel to it. But one of the big issues that I've seen really is I don't want to call it frivolous spending, but perhaps spending that's not so much.
It isn't necessary.
Necessary, yeah. And for instance,
not being fiscally conservative.
Well, that's yes,
Can
exactly.
we say that?
Yeah, I mean that's what it is.
So what's up with the pickleball stuff?
The pickleball courts.
And how do you?
If people want pickleball,
$millions?
People want to play pickleball. I'm all for it.
Right.
They're complaining that there aren't any pickleball courts down at the upcoming new racket center, that they've kind of combined using the tennis courts as pickle. So build them half a dozen pickleball courts is about $500,000. Okay, good. Build them the pickleball courts. Now you got your pickleball. Everything's good. That's not what they want to do. Palm Coast has the look right now of building the Taj Mahal everything. We've got the Taj Mahal Park off Florida Park Drive. They want to build the Taj Mahal pickleball. They want 12 pickleball courts, 12 tennis courts.
What's wrong with that?
A stadium. There's nothing wrong with it, except the price tag.
Okay.
You've got phase 1 is $5.6 million. Okay. Phase 2 has an unknown price.
Whoa.
So there is a list, a wish list that the Parks and Recreation Department did a couple years ago, and on it they list the pickleball courts. And their estimated cost for the full program is $20 million. So we're looking at a potential, and I mean, it's not budgeted yet, but we're looking at a potential of $20 million. A lot of that comes from impact fees from the developers and so forth. It's not straight out of our property tax, but still $20 million.
All I can say, if we have that kind of money be building a pickleball court, why don't they lower our water bill?
Well, it's two different budgets. They can't pull the impact fee over to the water bill, but that's a whole nother issue.
Can they give it back another way?
Yeah, well, they can, and not only that, but if you've got that kind of money,
lower taxes maybe, something.
Lower impact fees, so that people can build a little cheaper. But we also have all these other parks in Palm Coast that are
run down.
Yes, and here's this money sitting here. We want to build the Taj Mahal Hall.
Taj Mahal Hall. That's cute.
But what about the other parks? I mean, let's spread it around. If out of $5.6 million, we take $500,000 and build the pickleball court so that people can play the pickleball there, then awesome. And then let's spend another $500,000 in another park and another park, and let's spread it around so that we can build up all the parks in Palm Coast
and not just one or two. That makes sense. Exactly. I get it. All right, well, we got to take a break. I'm learning here. That's why we got you. He's going to all the meetings. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay. Time we have. All right, so I'm going to give a shout out to my sponsors, 500bankruptcy.com. Listen, if you're thinking about bankruptcy, or if you're on the brink of bankruptcy, or you don't even know what you need to do, you need to go to 500bankruptcy.com and check it out. There's a free book on there too that you can get. Also, trade coaches, tradecoaches.org. Make sure you go to tradecoaches.org if you're thinking about making that perfect play in the stock market. Also, the FloridaMortgageCenter.com. Steve Verrier, thank you for sponsoring our show. Of course, probably some of them, all of them, most of them, I don't know, may or may not agree with some of the things on my show, but I appreciate them allowing me being on the radio. So some of my views are not their own. FloridaMortgageCenter.com. All right, ready? Welcome back. Want to give a thank you and a shout out to 500bankruptcy.com, tradecoaches.org, and the FloridaMortgageCenter.com. Thank you for sponsoring Today with Pastor Jay. All right, so you're teaching me, you're teaching our community. Oh, nope, that budget, you can't use that money over there. You can't do that over there. Can't do that. But what else?
Well, real quick, because I don't want to extend this out too far, but one of the, when I stood up at the podium and I was talking about the pickleball issue, I asked, do you have a business plan for this? The answer is no. Do you have any kind of certified financials to show what the future costs will be? The answer is no. Do you have a break-even point when we might be, getting the money? No. Do you have a return on investment estimate? No. Ed Danko asked if they had an ongoing maintenance fee budget. No. So they're willing to spend the money, but they have
no plan.
No plan. And one issue that I found out yesterday or the day before, which blew my mind, is that these courts, the tennis courts and all that, are clay. Okay? And
they crack, don't they?
Well, you have to keep them wet. You have to keep them wet. So you have two choices. You can use a sprinkler system above or a water system underneath. I believe we use a water system underneath. It takes approximately, according to Google, because I haven't got the information from the city yet, but according to Google, if you look around, you see that clay courts use about 700 gallons of water a day. So if you take 700 gallons of water times 12 pickleball courts times 12 tennis courts at about, I think it's $5.65 per thousand, and you bring it out.
So they're giving away money here.
$30 million worth of water in a year.
No.
If you estimate it all out, and I could be wrong because I haven't got the money.
It's not so. Maybe they're just gonna have a well or something or whatever.
Well, even if they do, that water that they're using could be water that would be spent or purchased by residents and businesses, and the city utility would be making money off it. Since the city owns the utility, there's no money spent by the city for the water, but there's a loss because it's not being sold to somebody else. So part of the maintenance costs on top of everything else.
So you are very involved.
Very involved.
Very involved. You're running for city council.
Yes.
Oh, so what's the pay for city council?
I think it's $9,600.
Oh, so it's not that much less.
No, it's not much.
Just
it's 2.5 years worth of campaign.
I mean, it's a whole. That's a whole lot of money. No, I'm just
yeah.
Well, I just want to applaud you for continuing to stick with it, for being out there.
Well,
and,
no other candidate lost a race has been there. Or look around, every other candidate that lost a race, they're not there.
It's funny. People go and they run for office and then they disappear.
Yeah.
But you've stayed around, so I applaud you for that. Thank you so much for informing me, letting me know. I have to have you back. We'll talk about the budgets and this and that. You can have me back
anytime.
And you come co-host anytime you want. I'll open that to everyone.
Hey,
so
I'll be here.
Anytime. We'll maybe talk about socks or something, but you can more than welcome.
No, that's fine.
Or fashion. I need to do a fun show.
Well, I think all your shows are really entertaining anyway. I love the information. But I got to say real quick before this is over, I was super impressed when you led the REC by what you did and the help you gave. As we spoke in the beginning, you were neutral. I was super impressed. You do not sleep. If I had the energy you had, I'd be running for president, not city council.
I'm now the president of the Flagler County GOP.
Which is a fantastic organization.
I
was at the meeting.
Club.
Yes.
And you've been coming to the meetings there.
Yeah.
A lot of people were growing good information, facts.
And it's open to everybody.
It's
like
open
you
to
said
everyone.
last night.
Republicans, Democrats, Independents, please come out and get some information, get some facts.
Right. Open to everybody.
Open to everyone. So thank you so much. I'm glad you joined. Did you join our club?
Of course.
Oh, absolutely. It's the best club going. FlaglerCountyGOP.com. Got to put a plug in for that.
Sure.
So thank you so much. You come back anytime and sharing your story. I appreciate you. God bless you guys. You know what I say? Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow's not promised. What are you going to do today? Today you're going to get involved. Find out what's going on in your city, your county, the school board, whatever. Get engaged. Yeah. Just don't vote. Get engaged. God bless you and have a great day. Guys, for watching. Have a blessed day.